Chair recognizes Representative Owens of Watertown.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and through you to the members. I rise in support of H.4135, an act modernizing firearm laws. I want to say thank you especially to the gentleman from Stoneham as well as my neighbor, the gentlelady from Cambridge, and the gentleman from Natick, who I know have been working on this for a very long time. Mr. Speaker, I was not planning to speak on this bill this morning, but I want to respond to something that I had heard, and that was that we don't have school shootings here. Because everybody thinks that. Oh, we don't have school shootings here. I certainly thought that when I got a phone call from my mother in 2004. Steve, there was a shooting at our school. I'm fine. We'll talk later. It was before text messages, so I didn't get the text message, but I got the phone call. As we know, the federal assault weapons ban, it expired near the end of 2004. It was, thankfully, in effect earlier that year when a student walked into my high school in suburban Albany, New York, with a shotgun and shot a teacher outside of my mother's classroom. Now, I had graduated 10 years ago. I'm older than I look. But that day, a 16-year-old student who had been suspended from school fired twice at students in the third-floor hallway before he shot Mr. Michael Bennett, a special education teacher, right outside of the room where my mother was teaching social studies. Mr. Bennett, he dove, bleeding from the leg, into my mother's classroom, where she had gathered her students in front of the room, away from the door, behind two desks and the computer station. She was unable to help without getting in the line of sight from the open door until the gunman was disarmed, wrestled to the ground in her room by the assistant principal, Mr. John Sawchuk. Whole episode lasted about 10 minutes. Bennett's injuries were not life-threatening. No one else was hurt, thank God. 10 minutes of crisis result in 10 months of recovery that takes much longer and is much more essential. Even after a situation where almost everything went right, students and staff had PTSD symptoms that lasted a long time. Students refused to come back to class. My mother herself, she retired the next year rather than work in the same room where she was ready to shield children with her body. So I often think, what's the goal here? What's the goal? Well, what would have happened if instead of a shotgun, we did not have the assault weapons ban, and that student had an AR-15 or any of the other weapons that would have been allowed as the assault weapons ban expired, the federal assault weapons ban expired? Unfortunately, I don't have to wonder, do I? Since 2004, hundreds of families don't have to wonder either, because the unthinkable has happened. Sandy Hook, Parkland, Uvalde, household names. Shelter in place and active shooter drills common in our schools. Year after year, it becomes less easy to dismiss this as something that couldn't happen in your community. That's what I thought when I got the call from my mother. That's what many of us think. That's what folks in Framingham thought earlier this year. Couldn't happen here. We have an opportunity now to make sure that the Commonwealth's gun laws remain the strongest in the nation. We have to keep up with the latest developments in firearms and strengthen our assault weapons law to keep true to the spirit of our 2004 assault weapons ban and crack down on guns that would have been illegal then if they had existed at that time, and unregulated, unregistered ghost guns as well. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for this opportunity. This bill will save lives, and I hope that members will join me in voting in favor. Thank you.